Ladies and gents, welcome to the channel. Mantle Productions here. Today we're going to be flying in the A2A Simulations Cessna 172 on VATSIM from Jersey, which is where we're parked at now, just north of here up to Alderney. Alderney has just received an update scenery-wise. ORBX has updated the old Earth Simulations scenery package for Alderney. They've taken it under their umbrella of products. And today we're going to fly up there and have a look, do VFR around the island, land, do a touch and go, and then a couple of touch and goes and land at Alderney. So it's just a really nice little VFR flight today. I see there's an Airbus 319 that's coming in from Heathrow probably. The real world weather tonight is actually like 40 knots gusting and pretty much horizontal rain. So I'm not sure why he's just come back and landed with a tailwind. I'm assuming he's flying with real world weather, but of course to be able to do this flight I am not obviously flying with real world weather, so we're going to have to take that into account when contacting ATC. We're going to have to just be mindful that the weather information they're giving us is actually not what we're visibly seeing in the simulator. So the A2A Simulations 172, of course, recently had an update. We now have PBR on the 172, and I can tell you right now it's kind of difficult to tell that this is a PBR skin until I show you some reflections. You can just see a little bit of a reflection there at the moment. There you go. Look at that. Look at that metallic. If I come round, you'll really see the metallic. You see all the rivets starting to pop, and if you look here, you can see where water has streaked down the side of the aircraft and left kind of little rivulets of dirt or residue behind them, and that's actually being picked up by the reflectivity of the light bouncing off the metal there. So that's really cool. That's what PBR is. It really is a lot more of a realistic lighting and shading and reflectivity situation for any add-on these days. Of course, it's pretty much standard in all the gaming industry. PBR is completely standard and nothing to sniff at. But of course, in the likes of P3D, that is a pretty cool thing when we have this. Of course, one day soon we're going to have Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 come along and just spoil us all with its visuals. X-Plane also has some excellent visuals as well. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, so we're going to jump into the aircraft. I am... Oh, just make sure no one was... Okay, that's fine. I am going to do a quick pre-flight. So I'm going to go Shift 8, that's what that is, and just run through this cabin checklist. So remove the pitot tube cover, which has been removed. Pilot's operating handbook is in the plane, it's just here. The parking brake is set. Control wheel lock has been removed. Ignition switch is off. Avionics master switch is off. Battery master switch, let's turn that on. That's the battery master. Pitot heat, let's turn on the pitot heat because we want to heat up that pitot tube just to test that it's working before we take off. Fuel quantity check, we are about half for each tank, which is what we want. With no problem with that today. We're not flying very far. Avionics master switch on. Static pressure outsource valve off. Make sure that that's off, which is this little red guy down here. Make sure you see it says pull to be on, so it's pushed in, which means it's off. Annunciator panel test switch. We need to test the annunciator panel. Make sure all of the lights flash as they should if they need to flash, and then when you release it, you'll see relevant ones at the moment that, yeah, so fuel pressure, the left and right vacuum because the engine's not running, and then they will extinguish in a moment or two. Annunciator panel, test switch release, yeah, check that the appropriate lights remain on. Fuel selector tank, fuel selector valve is on both, that's that down there, that's in the middle, he's on both. So that means the engine drains from both tanks at the same time equally, so we don't have any issues where we constantly have to be swapping the tanks. It says 19 degrees Celsius in the simulator right now. That's because I've gone with a weather preset as opposed to real world weather. Real world weather at the moment would be like it's probably about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 degrees, something like that. Okay, fuel shutoff valve on, push to be full in. Fuel shutoff valve. That's the one that I can't. Yeah, there you go. Fuel cutoff is on. Okay, now the pitot has been heating up for a while now, so we can now turn that off. Avionics master switch off, like so. Battery master switch off. And elevator trim set for takeoff, which it is. Okay, so now we've done that, we're going to jump outside. Yes, let's jump this direction. And just test that it is hot, and you can see by the red circle it is. Make sure that we lock the baggage. I have already run around and taken the tie downs, so let's just run through these linkages to make sure that they're all okay. Just wiggle the trim tab, that looks okay. Coming around, wiggling the left flap, the right hand flap, sorry, and there's actually no wiggle in it at all. I actually had to reinstall the C172 from scratch the other day to update to PBR the update. So that means that my flight history in the 172 is sadly deleted, and now I'm flying a vanilla brand new aircraft with pretty much 0 hours on it. A little bit less on the oil, but that's fine. The oil doesn't need to be changed every day, and shouldn't expect any issues with the sumping. Check that the prop is okay for damage. Check there's nothing in. I remember has been one time I have had a rag stuck inside the vent there. Make sure that's free and clear. 50, roughly halfway on the fuel on the left-hand side. Just sumping the left fuel tank as well. Of course, on a pre-flight, sumping the fuel is a must-do for every single flight that you do, because you don't want to be that unlucky guy that forgot to check and sump the purity and the quality of your fuel, and then you're on a flight and your engine quits midway through because you've got contaminated fuel. It doesn't happen often, but it does always need to be checked. And that's what makes aviation the safest thing there basically is in terms of travel, because of all of this checking and redundancy. Okay, so I'm just going to double check that my ATC is online. Yes, that is correct. It's still going good. So I'm going to pop on the avionics, the battery master and the avionics master. And I'm quickly going to file a flight plan. My flight plan is going to be EGJJ to EGJJ. Alternate can be Alderney. No, correction, Guernsey, EGJB. EGJB. So this is basically how you file out a flight plan. 8, 9, 10. That's 20. Let's go 20, 1500 Zulu. Time en route is going to be about 30 minutes. If that. Fuel, I have roughly 2 hours. That's fine. Cruise at 4,000 feet. It's VFR today, and cruising speed is about 100 knots. VFR to Alderney, and return. Flying in VFR custom weather. That's for the controllers to be able to look at me and go, okay, he's fine. He's not flying with a 40-knot headwind. I'm going to file that flight plan. And now with that flight plan filed, I am going to call up the ATC controller on the tower station and ask for a clearance and a request to start the engine. So let's grab the ATIS first. That's 134.67. 134.67. So let's tune that on nav 1. 134.67. And listen in.
Time 1950. Runway in use 08. Transition level flight level 70. Surface wind 170, 13 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers or more, light rain. Few clouds at 2,200 feet, scattered 3,000 feet. Temperature +10. Dew point +7. QNH 990 hectopascal. QFE 981 hectopascal. Acknowledge a receipt of information Delta. And advise aircraft type on first contact.
Okay. So he said he said the wind was actually 13 knots. So in the real world, it must have died down a lot since I last checked. I can't believe it's died down that much. Maybe my wind data was false then. Oh no, no. Okay, that was reading that. That's strange. ATIS details. You see that doesn't do anything these days. See if I look. No, I'm not going to do it now. Okay, that's fine. Let's just roll with what I've got. Let's see. So that's QNH 1010 and Delta runway 08. So the 08 runway, I'm going to have to taxi down, which is fine. I'm going to grab some charts just while I'm here before I contact him. EGJJ, search, and taxi. That's pretty much what I want there, right there. So he's going to give me Alpha, Bravo, all the way to hold Bravo 1, or maybe no, Alpha and hold Echo probably as I'm on 172. Okay, so it's always nice if you're flying and you're not familiar with the aircraft or the situation, it's always helpful to just prep and imagine what you're going to hear before you hear it, because that really helps. Helps you kind of expect before you get there. Okay, so I'm going to contact the tower now to get clearance to start the engine, 119.45. So 119.45. Jersey Tower, good evening. Golf Bravo November Kilo Echo.
Golf Bravo November Kilo Echo, good evening sir. Jersey Tower, pass your message.
Golf Bravo November Kilo Echo requesting VFR clearance as filed. Information Delta QNH 1010, aircraft type Cessna 172.
Golf Kilo Echo, roger sir. We'll give you your taxi instructions first. We'll give you your clearance at your hold point. Call for engine start.
Okay, thanks. Request engine start for 172. Oh, I messed that up.
Golf Kilo Echo, engine start is approved. Outside temperature is +10. Call for taxi.
We'll call for taxi Golf Kilo Echo, thanks. Okay, so what happened there is he amended my call sign to Golf Kilo Echo. I originally had to call him when it was, I had to use my full unadulterated call sign, Golf Bravo November Kilo Echo, and once he knows who he's talking to, then he has the power to amend that or abridge that to just Golf Kilo Echo, and then from that point on I can then talk back to him calling myself Golf Kilo Echo. So by the way, forget that false call sign on the dashboard there. That's just the texture. The livery that I've installed, I've done a kind of haphazard way of installing the livery with the new PBR model, so don't worry about that. So I'm calling myself Golf Kilo Echo. I now have the clearance to start the engine. Some VFR airfields in the UK, the tower wants you to, let's just double check that before we leave. The tower wants you to request engine start, and some others allow you to get on with engine start all by yourself and then call for taxi. So there are different ways of doing it for different people. Okay, so for the rest of my checklist, I'm going to run with the Shift 2 2D panel, hip notes or knee pad, if you want to call it. So engine starting. So throttle is cracked. Let's just crack the throttle. Usually about 23% on the throttle, I find, does the job. Throttle cracked. Mixture is on idle. Master switch is on. Let's turn on the alternator as well.
Speedbird 79 Juliet, request push and start stand number 1.
On with the beacon, so people know we're about to start the engine soon.
Juliet, push and start is approved, sir.
Auxiliary fuel pump switch is on, so you want to turn on the auxiliary fuel pump and watch and keep the mixture rich until you get a stable fuel flow for about 3 to 5 seconds, and then set to idle cutoff. So ready? We want to watch this needle here. Oh no, sorry, that's the oil pressure. The fuel flow gauge on the right hand side. We want to watch that needle come up. Ready? Set, go. There we go. That's all we need. Now that's drawn fuel into the engine, ready for start. Let's just center that while we're here. About 080 is fine. Okay, so now auxiliary fuel pump off, propeller. At this point in real life we would shout clear so that anyone near us would know that we're about to start the engine. Us shouting clear is our acknowledgement that the area is clear as well. So so mixture, so ignition switch start, and watch the T's and P's. It's the first thing you do. So the oil pressure is immediately coming up into the green. That's what we want. If it didn't, and if it skulked down at, below 20 or something, we would know something is seriously wrong. That's the first thing we need to look at. The vacuum suction is okay. The amps are okay. The oil temperature will gradually start rising. It's been cold and dark now for a while on the taxi ramp, so that's the most important thing to look for, just to make sure the pressure of the oil running through the system is actually correct. Idle on the ground around 1000 RPM, and we're going to lean out our mixture for ground operations to about 75% on the mixture. Okay, so we have our headphones in, which is why the engine is so quiet. We've actually got dynamic headphones on in the cockpit, and I'm actually going to keep it that way so that I can clearly hear the ATC instructions. So if you folks feel that I don't have the engine noises up too high, that's why. You can hear it a little bit better on the outside. Okay, so now the engine...
Speedbird 33 Alpha Whiskey, stand number 4, request push and start.
Okay, so check the oil pressure. Nav lights on as required, so let's turn our nav lights on and our taxi light on as well, and our pitot heat.
Just miss your company 732 that's just pushing back as well off stand 1.
Okay, so avionics on, they are indeed, and radios are on, and flaps retract. Okay.
33 Alpha Whiskey, Roger, circle for taxi.
We can run the before takeoff checklist at the hold when we're getting our clearance as well. So we're on tower frequency right now. I just want to preset the radios. I'm on tower frequency at the moment. The next person I'll be talking to is approach on 125.2. So I'm going to set 125.2, and I'm going to preset that in the standby of COM1. And that means whenever he gives me clearance to change frequency, I'm not fumbling for the frequency and thumbing it in using the knob while I'm in flight. I can just simply hit that button and it will swap over the two frequencies, and I'll change from one to the other. So... Okay, so now I can, actually just before we do anything else, let's just have a look at our lighting situation. It's a little bit overcast. I want to turn on the radio stack. I want to turn on the panel lights, and also the glare shield looks really cool now that we have PBR. And if you move the control columns, you can see that the light is dynamically kind of hitting those three-dimensional surfaces really nicely. So we'll have that on. I don't have any T. That's an issue. Yes, I'm not quite sure A2A, if you're watching, I've had this happen before with this light, but yeah, I'm not sure. Also, of course, the I'm not quite sure. That's been a bug I've had for a while. I'm not sure if that's just me or what. So it looks like someone's pushing back there, a BA. Okay, so let's again just look at our... this is Plan G, by the way, for those of you who have not seen this, who are new to my channel. Plan G is an application which runs in the background, and it links everything you're doing in the simulator world, and you've got like a moving map, you've got your aircraft, and all of your navigation data, your NDBs, your VORs, your ILSs, your waypoints are all here. So I right-clicked and I said add airport, and I'm going to go up and hit add Alderney to the plan. So that's basically going to be our flight plan up and down. We might deviate a bit. We're going to be VFR. So, okay, so we're pretty much ready to call for taxi. We're going to expect him to give us alpha to hold echo for runway 08. So it's going to be an east departure, and then an east climb out, and then turn north. So so we're going to give the call to tower. Tower, Golf, Kilo Echo, ready for taxi.
Golf Kilo Echo, if you would like to start your taxi up to hold point Alpha 3 for runway 08, QNH is 990 hectopascals.
Taxi up to and hold Alpha 3 for a departure off 08, Golf, Kilo Echo. Thanks. Okay, so he's given me hold at Alpha 3, which means that there are other aircraft in the area, maybe off that ramp that I could just see that are pushing back, and I don't want to conflict with that traffic. So I've just popped off the parking brake and the aircraft is starting to roll forward of its own accord, just checking left and right, making sure that we're all good. If we do an outside check, you can see just turn a left onto this taxiway. And beautiful aircraft. I do love the 172. It's just one of those classic aircraft of life that I just feel so normal. I just feel so used to the 172. Excuse me. And if I, of any aircraft, probably of any aircraft, if I didn't have the 172, that would be the most difficult for a flight sim. Oh crap! That's me already doing stupid things. So yes, Alpha 3 is just before the main apron. So let's just sit down on my seat properly. Yeah. So Alpha 3 is just coming up. If we zoom in with our, we should be able to see it well. It doesn't appear to be modeled on this. Oh yes, there it is, Alpha 3. So we hold at this area here, just where the sign is.
And Jersey Tower, Speedbus 79 Juliet will be ready for taxi when the company starts moving.
Okay, pop the parking brake on again.
79 Juliet, roger sir. I'll try and get you out within 2 minutes of each other.
Roger, making.
Lovely ATC quality now with the updated
Speedbus 33 Alpha Whiskey, ready for taxi.
VATSIM audio codec.
Speedbus 33 Alpha Whiskey, taxi hold point Bravo 1, runway 08, QNH 990 hectopascals.
Okay, he's been given Bravo 1, which is all the way up there. I'm expecting Echo though.
Speedbus 33 Alpha Whiskey.
So we're going to ignore the wind in the simulator because he's giving us 08, so we're going to have to...
Speedbird 79 Juliet, if you follow the company and hold up Bravo 2.
Actually, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to
Follow the
change...
company, hold at Bravo 2, 79 Juliet.
We're just going to change to fair weather. because then that means... Oh, okay. Yeah, we have a more realistic... we have a more realistic wind for this runway. Just make sure that we're still idling around 1,000 RPM. As the engine heats up, you can see it's heating up a bit more now. It's over 100 Fahrenheit. As it heats up, the RPM will change. As the oil heats up as well and becomes more viscous, or correction, less viscous, it will...
Golf Kilo Echo, continue taxi sir, hold Alpha 5. You will find that you'll have a Boeing 732 at Bravo 2.
Taxi and hold Alpha 5 for Golf Kilo Echo, thanks. So there's Alpha 4. I don't quite see Alpha 5. Oh, there's Alpha 5 on the larger chart. Okay, so he's given us there. So we're just here at Alpha 3.
Good evening, Speedbird 2775, information Delta QNH 990. We're an A319 standard 3, request clearance to Gatwick. Speedbird 2775, good evening sir, Jersey Tower. You're clear to London Gatwick via the Orist 1 Delta departure, Squawking 1201. Clear to Gatwick, Orist 1 Delta, departure Squawk 1201, Speedbird 2775. Speedbird 2775, readback is correct sir. When ready, call for push and start. Okay, Speedbird 2775. Speedbird 33 Alpha Whiskey, runway 08, cleared for takeoff, wind 17013 knots. Clear for takeoff, runway 08.
So Alpha 5 is just on that left-hand turn, just here, so I'm going to...
Speedbird 79 Juliet, continue your taxi sir up to Bravo 1.
Continue taxi onto Bravo 1. Speedbird 79 Juliet.
Correction, it's further down from here. It's just down here. So we've just got to taxi past this big chap. Oh, he does look big when you're in a 172.
Golf Kilo Echo. When I spoke to you last, sir, you said that you wanted to do VFR circuits. I noticed your flight plan says you're going to do a VFR flight to Alderney and return. Can you confirm?
Affirm for Golf Kilo Echo.
And Golf Kilo Echo, continue taxi to hold point Delta for runway 08.
Continue taxi, hold point Delta for runway 08, Golf Kilo Echo. Okay, Delta.
Speedbird 79 Juliet, after the departing company 732, line up and wait runway 08.
Yeah, he's given me Delta.
Behind the departing 732, line up and wait, 08. Behind Speedbird 79 Juliet.
Looks like he's got a nose gear issue there. Maybe that's just a... No, that's kind of looks correct, but looks a bit weird. Okay, that could be a classic Boeing 737-300 or something. Okay, there is the 737-800 on his way. Lovely. And we are going to hold just here before this hold line. And we have our aircraft into the wind. Oh my, is he really going to make it? Oh, I suppose he is, yeah. Oh, is he though? Yes, he is. Okay, so we are just going to do the before takeoff checklist. Seatbelts and doors checked. We are secure on either side. Flight controls free and correct. Flight instruments checked and set. We have runway heading. We have QNH set. Correction.
Speedbird 79 Juliet, 2-minute wake vortex.
Fuel quantity check. We've got and then mixture. We're gonna now go mixture rich. Fuel selector recheck. It's on both. Yeah. Throttle 1800 RPM. We're gonna just do a mag check. Like so. Check the right or check the left. And then check the right. Both mags are in very good order. And that's because, like I said before, this is a pretty much fresh, brand new install of the 172, so we shouldn't have any issues there. Nothing illuminated on the annunciator panel. Throttle idle, then set to 1000 RPM. So bring it down to idle, and then set to 1000 RPM. So should be good there. Radios and lights set. That is correct. Let's turn on. Let's not turn on the landing light or the strobe yet until we cross the threshold. That's good etiquette. And elevator trim is set, and wing flaps
Speedbird 79
10
Juliet.
degrees.
Runway 08 clear for takeoff, wind 17013 knots.
Clear for takeoff, runway 08, speedbird 79 Juliet, thank you.
Okay, he's going to go. Let's just watch him go.
Golf Kilo Echo, are you ready for your clearance, sir?
Ready for clearance, Golf Kilo Echo.
Golf Kilo Echo, you're cleared up to Alderney VFR, not above 2,000 feet, walking 3635.
Clear to Alderney to the north, VFR not above 2,000 feet, squawk 3635, Golf Kilo Echo. Okay, 3635.
Golf Kilo Echo, your readback is correct, sir. Report fully ready for departure.
We'll report ready for departure, Golf Kilo Echo. Okay, so that means he's given me some time.
Speedbird 79 Juliet, contact Jersey Control
36,
125.20. Have a good flight, bye-bye.
5, and then
125,
transponder is on out.
Speedbird 79 Juliet, thank you very much. See you later, guys.
Also, squawk mode Charlie. I always forget to do that.
Have a good flight, Andrew.
Golf Kilo Echo ready for departure.
Golf Kilo Echo, line up and wait runway 08. We're just going to give you a 2-minute delay, sir, for the wake vortex for these jets to clear.
Sounds lovely. Line up and wait 08, Golf Kilo Echo. Okay, so he's going to give us a delayed departure due to the wake turbulence of those two aircraft that just took off, which is very kind of him, because wake turbulence from commercial aircraft when you're in a 172 is ugly stuff. I did get caught in it once on VATSIM in a Unicom situation. Okay, so
Speedbird 2775, I know that feeling, sir.
hold the brakes.
Start is
Oh, I should have popped on the strobe and the landing light straight away, but there we go. So takeoff wing flaps have been set, mixture is rich. Throttle advance slowly until full open, and then lightly lift nose at 55.
As well.
And then climb speed is 70 to 80, and then wing flaps retract about around 70 to 80. So he wants to push back soon. He's probably going to do that fairly soon now, and any minute now we'll hear the call for my takeoff clearance. Let's just double check that. Yep, all of the ATC that I thought is still going to be on, which is nice. And after a left-hand turnout, he's probably going to hand me over to the approach controller, which we already preset. So you can see the dynamic lights pulsing. And
Golf Kilo Echo, apologies for the delay, sir, but you are cleared for takeoff runway 08, wind 17013 knots.
clear for takeoff runway 08, and no worries about apologizing for wake turbulence delays for a 172 Golf Kilo Echo. Thanks. And smoothly advance the throttle, and I can feel that left-hand crosswind is dragging the nose to the left. So I'm putting in right rudder to maintain a center line. Once we hit slight upwards on the nose and climb out about 70 to 80 knots. We're above 70 knots, so let's bring up the flaps. And I'm just trimming to bring the nose forward and climbing at 80 knots. You can see the wind is pushing us slightly off center line, so let's compensate with a little bit of bank just to bring us back on. That should do it.
Golf Kilo Echo. Contact Jersey Control 125.20 and he should see you safely all the way over to Alderney. Have a great flight. Bye-bye.
Cleared to contact Jersey approach. Thank you very much for ATC, and we'll see you later. Golf Kilo Echo. Okay, so he has said not above 2,000 feet, remember, and that was the beep for 1,000 feet to go. So just change frequency there to Jersey approach. So I'm going to call him now. The Jersey approach, good evening. Golf Bravo November Kilo Echo with you, just turning north, VFR northbound.
Golf Kilo Echo, Jersey Zone, good evening. Roger, you can now maximum climb altitude 4,000 feet, Jersey QNH 990 hectopascals.
Cleared to climb to 4,000 feet for Golf Kilo Echo, thanks. Okay, so he's given me max climb up to 4,000 feet, which was what I put on my flight plan. So you see the tower said don't climb above 2,000 feet. That was his clearance, and then he allowed me to take off, handed me over to approach, and then I probably should have not...
Golf Kilo Echo, expect runway 08 at Alderney and report visual with the airfield.
We'll expect 08 at Alderney and we'll report visual with the airfield, thanks. Golf Kilo Echo. Okay, so VFR is a bit different in that it's not the same as IFR.
Bed 33 Alpha Whiskey, route direct VATSIM.
IFR, the ATC controller does a lot for you. He helps you. He tells you exactly where to go and what to do. But with VFR, you are the one that's looking out the window, and you're the one that's a lot more... You interpret what he says, and you go where you know you should. Let's turn off the nav and the taxi. No correction. Taxi and landing is what I wanted to turn off. So you find that whenever you're going from one controller to the next, you do a lot more...
Bed 33 Alpha Whiskey, contact London Control on 129.42. Bye-bye.
You do a lot more transmitting data back and forwards between you and the tower.
London 129.425. Speedbird 33 Alpha Whiskey. Cheers. Good day.
Okay, going to bring the throttle back to 75% on the power. I'm going to bring the mixture back to 75% as well for my kind of standard cruise. And we're just going to head straight north here. So as I was saying before, 1,000 feet to go. As I was saying before, with VFR, you have to pay a lot more attention to what you're telling the ATC controller, in the sense that
Speedbird 79 Juliet, resume on navigation direct Orist, Oscar Romeo India Sierra Tango.
He doesn't know a lot of stuff that you are thinking in your head. And you'll see that as we come back into Jersey. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop the autopilot on and go heading hold for the moment. Let's just go 0 degrees, heading hold, and VS up to 4,000 feet. And arm 4,000 feet, like so. So that's, the aircraft is just going to climb itself up to 4,000 feet and then level off there. So some people think, oh, Mantok, you're flying VFR, why are you using the autopilot system? There's absolutely no reason why I can't fly with the autopilot, but in VFR, the primary mode of navigation should be your two eyeballs out the window. there's nothing to say you can't use your autopilot, just to kind of take some of the mental work off of your brain while you're looking out and about for landmarks or for other air traffic in the area or anything like that. But that's an important distinction to make. You should always remember that when you're flying VFR, your two eyes are you're responsible for what you can see out the window. And you're responsible for not flying into clouds where you can't see anything. Then that's an IMC, which is Instrument Meteorological Conditions, or IFR situation then. And if you're not rated for an IFR flight or flight plan, if you're not in an IFR capable aircraft, or if you're not rated your training, you haven't been trained in IFR, then you really should never ever get yourself into a situation where you could potentially slip into IFR by accident even. So that's important. So as we climb up through 3007...
Speedbird 79 Juliet, contact London Control on 129.42. Bye-bye.
London 129.425, Speedbird 79 Juliet, thank you very much, see you later.
Do love the 172. Just the shape of it. You'll never get tired of the 172. Look at the nice lighting effects there. So that is Guernsey off to our left hand side. We've just left Jersey behind us, and ahead of us will be the island of Alderney. And it's got some pretty unique history actually. Alderney, I believe, was invaded by the Germans in World War II, and so Alderney is one of the it is practically the only part of the UK that was under occupation by the Germans in World War II. I believe that is a historical fact. I have not Googled that. I have not looked it up in a long time. That is off the top of my head. When I was just looking at what the scenery involved, the new ORBX scenery. Look at that lovely reflection across the metal. When I was looking into what the ORBX scenery entailed, I realized that there was the remnants of an old camp, of an old concentration camp, I think, on the south side of the runway of Alderney, and I'll see if I can show that to you in the
Golf Kilo Echo, Alderney QNH 990 hectopascals.
990 hectopascals, Golf Kilo Echo, thanks. So he's just updating me with some pressure information, which I'm not going to pay too much attention to because I'm not flying with real-world weather at the moment. So, quick and easy thing to do in the flight simulator in P3D or FSX is just to hit the B button, and that will automatically calibrate your local barometric pressure. Okay, so Guernsey and those small islands off to our left-hand side, so we're roughly halfway. Yeah, and this big red square of ATC space is the airspace of Jersey approach, as far as I can tell. He deals with all of this space. Three degrees headwind. Jersey approach, Golf Kilo Echo. Just requesting, can I just do a VFR trip around Alderney, and then when I'm ready to do a touch and go at Alderney, can I call you when on final approach?
Golf Kilo Echo, roger, that's approved. Route to the north of the island, circuit the island, and then call me when finals for runway 08.
Thank you very much. So that's a circuit of the island, and I will call when final approach 08 at Alderney. Golf Kilo Echo.
Golf Kilo Echo. Roger, and just to confirm, please still report when visual with the island.
Wilco, Golf Kilo Echo. Golf Kilo Echo is visual with the island now, not quite visual with the airport yet, but...
Jersey, passing 4,500 to 5,000.
Golf Kilo Echo, Roger.
Okay.
Should be bed 2775,
Yeah, so
Jersey Control, good evening. Climb now, flight level 190.
sounded like I accidentally stepped over someone else I couldn't hear. Yeah, that guy where you can hear he's quite faint, and that's because he's probably quite far away from myself, or yeah, no, it was 2775. It's probably him. I don't know why he was pretty quiet. Let's go and have a look. He's going to be off my right hand side somewhere. I'm not 100% sure. Okay, it's fine. So usually we'd have like a flight following or something. If he hands me over to an area controller or a zone controller, then I would have flight following basic service. But since we're on the approach frequency, we don't really need that at the moment. He's got a good handle on things, and it's not terribly crowded ATC space. So as we just zoom in here, and I've gone around the Alderney scenery a couple of times already before doing this flight, and it's got a ton of fortifications around the coastal regions. Really nice. It's quite small, so it won't take us long to go around, but it does have a few. It has some rocky outcrops and some cliffs. It has a harbour on I believe the north and the south face. We'll see when we get closer and it starts to load in. And we'll do a touch and go. We might actually do a full stop landing and then backtrack and take off, because then that will give us time to just have a little bit more of a look at Alderney. He sounds like a really nice controller. He's happy to help out and do. He's pretty chill. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to descend down to 2,000 feet again, and we're going to do that by pressing ARM. Oh no, press altitude and then down, like so, and then ARM. There you go. And then pulling back on the throttle, because we're in a descent now. And so en route climb, we did all of that. In the cruise, yeah. And descent, power as desired. Mixture adjust for smooth operation. Fuel selector is on both. Wing flaps as desired. Descent checklist complete. This reminds me years ago when I did a VFR video from Guernsey to Jersey in the 172. It feels like so long ago. But it's kind of weird how in Flight Simulator in P3D, even though you're flying around in a virtual world, you can feel a deja vu and good memories from when you flew in certain areas. And because it genuinely does represent, you know, the real world that we live in, there are certain areas that I'm quite familiar with, and it feels quite at home to fly in, like southern Norway, around Torp, Sandefjord, and Jarlsberg, Notodden, even over to Bergen. Not that I've been at Bergen specifically in real life, but I've been there enough in the sim that I feel familiar with the area. Okay, so there's no other traffic around at the moment. Let's just zoom in and we'll just take a spy. The airfield is just here on the flat plateau portion. There's a VOR. You can see a VOR beacon over there. There's a little tower and some woods. The runway is just there, you'll see, and then if you zoom in you can see the terminal buildings. You can see the regional airline that flies the Dorniers, and they also fly ATR 74s and 45s, I think they are. Okay, so at this point I'm going to take over manual control of the aircraft, so I'm just going to turn off the autopilot, like so, and now I have manual control. I'm just going to reduce thrust a little bit more. We don't want to be going too fast because we want to actually take in the sights. So let's just. So it is a lovely, lovely little, beautiful scenery package. The resolution, the mapping is all very good quality, high resolution. And at the moment at ORBX, if you want to jump on and get this nice little scenery to do VFR stuff on, it's genuinely like £3 or like $6 or $8 because of the Christmas discount. So I would definitely recommend something like this if you want to do more VFR.
Speedbird 2775, contact with control 129.425, bye bye.
This is definitely a scenery that I will be flying the Piper Cub when A2A released the Piper Cub for Prepared 3D version 4. This is definitely a Piper Cub scenery for me, and I really hope and look forward to there being more ATC online for this area. So EGJA. So EGJA. Let's just quickly look at a taxi for this. Yeah, 08. Yeah, that is confirmed. Okay, so I'm going to take a left-hand turn, or sorry, correction, right-hand turn. We're just going to fly around the island and then come around on the north side of the approach. So if I just look here, yeah, lovely, lovely scenery. So it's got a big building up on the promontory there, and if you zoom in, you see the roads. No, Siri.
1 moment.
Oh, Siri. And there's a little fortification there on that little atoll, that little island. Okay, let's bring up the power a little bit. So there you can see that's pretty high resolution for scenery. A lovely little bay there. You can see the shallow water, and it's the sort of scenery that's so local. You could genuinely have every single house on the whole island accurately placed. So if you lived on the island, you could basically you'd have your house. And there is another fortification which is completely separate from the mainland being the island. It's so that looks a bit dreary. I mean, think about living there, or at least having a job there or something. I'm gonna have to Google a lot about this place. Look how beautiful that scenery is. Look at the lighthouse. Got little outbuildings to the lighthouse. If I just level the wings a little bit more, I can't wait to fly around this in the Piper Cub. It's going to be so much fun. Piper Cub's even slower than this, and I'm only at 85, 90 knots. The Cub is like 60 knots. It's another kind of fortification here. I can imagine that a number of these fortifications, probably all of these fortifications, are Napoleonic, because you wouldn't have built anything of that sort of military installment after the Napoleonic period, maybe only as late as 1800, because with gunpowder and firearms becoming what they were, you know, star forts and late Napoleonic forts, you know, by the Victorian times, Edwardian Victorian times, they just weren't needed. So there is the main harbour of Alderney. There's a nice little, looks like a fishing trawler there, and we've got some yachts down there, and we've got a nice little pier, and the yachts pulled out. And what looks like a oil refinery or an oil depot, a gas depot down there. It's got a nice little houses. Nice little houses. That's kind of the coastal area. And then as I come round, there's some beach houses, tennis courts. The fun thing about Alderney is that everywhere you are, you have a sea view, and it's nice. There's another star fort just there. That looks like a maybe slightly more modern barracks with those windows there. Make sure that I'm not stalling or anything stupid. Yeah, there you go. And there's some bits of land off to the left-hand side. And then, so that's where we were looking. And then we've got a big kind of house up there. And then another star fort. Look at that. That's crazy. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to come round for yeah, we're going to come round for a landing on 08. That is not 08. That's a grass strip. I'll definitely be landing on that in the Cub when that comes out. But at the moment, we're going to be landing on the concrete strip. So let's just do a bit of a landing checklist before we turn on finals. So airspeed 65 to 75 knots. We'll get there. Wing flaps as desired. Airspeed. Touch down the main wheels. Yeah, so we are good to go for that. I will make mixture rich, and I will make a base leg, a left-hand base leg just now, and start to bleed my speed. So my speed is about 85, so I want my speed down to about 70, and I'll bring my flaps down just about now is good. Just level the wings so I can get a visual on the runway. So there's my runway, and I'm going to make a turn soon. Golf Kilo Echo turning final runway 08 at Alderney.
Golf Kilo Echo, just confirm it's touch and go, and will it be for another circuit or route back to Jersey?
I was thinking, could I do a full stop and then backtrack and a takeoff at Alderney and then a return to Jersey?
Yep, not a problem. Golf Kilo Echo, runway 08, you're clear to land at Alderney. The wind's 190 degrees at 21 knots.
21 knots. Cleared to land runway 08 at Alderney, and we'll call when backtracked and ready for takeoff again. Golf Kilo Echo. Okay, so a little bit high. Just watch the pappies there. Let's get the landing lights on there, and bring the throttle down, and just watching the pappies now really. So good on the pappies. Now we're just watching the trim and the airspeed and the angle of attack. So let's just see. There we go. We could bring in a second notch of flaps. This is not the longest runway in the world. That's a little bit low. Let's just pull up slightly. It's not the longest runway in the world, so. But the profile looks excellent. This looks like just where we want to be. And there is a cattle farm just there. Yeah, you can hear them. Okay, cut the throttle. We can afford to float a little bit because we're... Oh, okay, now I didn't flare. I did not flare half as much as I needed to there. So that was my mistake. And the nose wheel probably touched slightly before the main gear. Okay, so on the left hand side you can see we've got some GA aircraft, and those are the two. That's the other runway there off to the left. If I now just put my brakes on and lean for ground operations, and just kick the rudder, and a little bit of differential braking and a little bit of throttle will swing us around, and let's just taxi all the way back up again. So just give us a little bit of welly on that, and we
backtrack, line up and wait, runway 08, report ready for departure.
backtrack, line up and wait, 08, we'll call ready for departure, Golf Kilo Echo. Okay, so let's not get too crazy, but yeah, so we've got a lot lovely grass strips, really looking forward to, and there's the paved taxiway back to the terminal building. So I might actually think about doing some regional flights into this airfield if I have the right aircraft to match the airline. Okay. Yeah, there's a busted Beechcraft, it looks like, maybe twin-engined, something like that. Okay, let's turn around. Oop, little bit extra on the throttle there. Okay. Alright, so just hold the brakes, and let's just run through a before takeoff, seatbelts and no, we don't need to do that. Takeoff, wing flaps set 10 degrees, mixture rich, throttle slowly advance. Okay, so Golf Kilo Echo ready for departure 08 at Alderney.
Golf Kilo Echo, after departure, right hand turnout. VFR 4,000 feet, keep your current squawk.
Clear takeoff 08 at Alderney, right hand turnout, climb 4,000 feet, keep the squawk, Golf Kilo Echo.
Golf Kilo Echo, runway 08, your clear takeoff, surface winds 190 degrees at 21 knots.
Clear takeoff 08 at Alderney, thanks, Golf Kilo Echo. Yeah, I missed that. He gave me my departure clearance, but he didn't actually give me takeoff clearance. And then I said, oh, I'm cleared to take off. And then he said, you're cleared to take off. Yes. So, advancing the throttle, airspeed alive, 50 knots, 60 knots, just lift off the nose, nose is up, speed increasing, 70 knots, oh, yeah, 75, that's 80 knots, and flaps up. And there, off the nose, is France. That's how close we are to France. I've never flown in France at all online. I don't have any scenery in France. But if any of you here love flying VFR in France and have some scenery you could recommend me, let me know, and I'll check it out, definitely. Ah, it's a beautiful shot there. Let's just get myself a splash screen for... That's my YouTube splash screen. Just hope that worked. Ah, lovely little scenery. So I'm glad I was able to show you folks Alderney, and I really look forward to returning here when we have the Piper Cub, definitely. Maybe we could do a group flight, guys. We could definitely do a group flight, VFR, uncontrolled, on Unicom, a group of Piper Cubs. It's going to be, yes, that is, when the A2A Piper Cub is released, that is going to be my Cub release party. It's going to be at Alderney. I have decided. So just heading south, full throttle, full mixture, just getting that climb happening, and then we're returning to Jersey. So little small trips like this are really helpful to hone your ATC skills, particularly if you're used to flying airliners and used to IFR communicating. VFR communicating isn't quite the same, and a lot of people are a bit hesitant just to jump in and make mistakes and not quite know what's going on. Excuse me. But what you really need to do is you need to find an airfield that's quiet, that's in a corner of the world that's quite quiet, where not much is going on, and genuinely just make a nuisance of yourself. So if I look on VATSIM now, yeah, I mean there's not much going on. We're pretty much the only person in the air that's around. The approach controller's just sitting back, having a sip of tea, and watching us as we cruise back to Jersey. So, you know, I definitely wouldn't, if you're trying to get into VFR aviation, I definitely wouldn't go to somewhere that's a lot more busy with like fast, heavy IFR traffic. Try and find yourself an airfield. Like I would jump on Portland right now. I would jump at Salt Lake City. I would jump on maybe Boston. I would jump into New York is always a bit dodgy, but you could always come on in a GA aircraft at Teterboro or LaGuardia. Maybe not LaGuardia, but Teterboro is good for GA aircraft. I don't really fly too many other places in the States.
Golf Kilo Echo, Jersey QNH is 989 hectopascals. Report the island in sight.
Copy the QNH, and we just have the island in sight on the horizon now, Golf Kilo Echo.
Golf Kilo Echo, roger. Expect 08, report the airfield in sight.
Expect 08, and we'll report airfield in sight, Golf Kilo Echo. Alright. So just by listening to me communicating with the guy, he's not rushed. He's a very chill controller. Both he and the tower controller are both sounded just really relaxed, really laid back, very not stressed at all. Happy sorts of people who are able to help you, and if you make a mistake, you're able to learn from it in a friendly, safe environment where, you know, you've not got a stack of 7 other aircraft behind you waiting to land, you know. So this is ideal learning environment for GA aircraft and VFR communication. So it's highly recommended. And then if you're already doing this, of course, and you want to do it with friends, come and join my Discord, and I'd happily do some GA flying every now and then, or go and join one of the VFR exclusive virtual airlines. Kicks VFR Club, for instance, is a fantastic place. That's where I first learned to fly online. If I go to Kicks VFR, I'll show you their webpage. Yep, there it is. So Kicks VFR Club, excellent place where visual flight rules. VFR, excellent. These are an excellent bunch of guys. I haven't flown with them in a long time, but I still have an account open with them, and I file a PIREP every now and then. I really should jump online and hang out with some of them a bit more frequently now. But now I'm in cruise. I'm going to throttle back to 75% on the power and 75% on the mixture. So although I haven't flown with them for a long time, I happily throw people their way because they are a fantastic group of VFR pilots who, if you want to just learn with friends, if you want to jump in a C172 and do shared cockpit with another pilot who will actually virtually be in the cockpit with you, helping you fly around, you can do that using the default C172 from P3D and one of the guys at Kicks VFR. So that's really exciting. I really enjoy it when you're able to do that sort of thing. So I really thoroughly enjoyed my time at Kicks VFR. I learnt an awful lot, and probably should have stuck with them a lot longer to learn a bit more, because I've been the sort of learn as you go sort of mentality about aviation simulations, so which is fine. So we've managed to very accurately retrace our steps with a surprising degree of accuracy there. That is ridiculously that's pretty funny that it happened that beautifully there. So you can see the crosswind leg. Sorry, correction. Upwind, crosswind, downwind, base leg. That's what it is. Base leg and final. That's like going a bit crazy. Yeah, so not much else to report until we hit visual with the airport, and then we're going to be coming in 08. So let's just prep for that. I'll actually pull up the VOR, even though we're doing VFR. I will
Golf Kilo Echo, descend altitude 2,000 feet.
Descend 2,000 feet, Golf Kilo Echo. Okay, so he's given me 2,000 feet. Let's set that in the autopilot. Let's just bring that down to 2,000 and then hit altitude and then negative, just to bring the feet per minute rate down. About 600 should be fine. And make sure that altitude is armed so that we level out at 2,000 once we get there. And pull the throttle back just so that we don't overspeed, and we'll descend very nicely. Okay, so as we were saying, we will pull up the approach plate for, yeah, there we go, NDB ILS DME for runway 08. This is where we're going to be coming in. Not that we're going to need this, but I'm just going to put it in so you can see the data running on the in the nav1 gauge. So 110.9 is the frequency for the localizer, so let's put in 110.9. And you might actually see this move in a moment or two. No, we're a bit too far out still, but that's fine. And then the localizer of that frequency is 086, but let's just know that 083 is the actual heading of the localizer, 083. So let's change this to 083, 723. There we go. So when we get into range with the airfield, we should see an actual localizer and glide slope appear. And we have our nav source set to nav, which is very important. If it's set to GPS and you're expecting radio navigation, it's not going to work. So, okay, coming down through 3,000 feet, 1,000 feet to go. So yeah, beautiful little chill, relaxed flight in a beautiful aircraft on a beautiful afternoon. With nice relaxed controllers. There's not much more that you could want in a flight simulator. Let's just update. There's some stuff going on in South America. That's quite good to see. Okay, let's just zoom in. Okay, so we've got 3 outbounds, an EasyJet, a Ryanair, and a TUI. The EasyJet and the TUI are both going to
Golf Kilo Echo, are you visual with the airfield yet?
just about now, coming into sight, Golf Kilo Echo.
Golf Kilo Echo, roger, contact Jersey Tower for joining instructions on 119.450, bye-bye.
Over to Tower 119.45. Thank you very much for your ATC service. Good evening, Golf Kilo Echo. Okay. Over to the tower frequency. Jersey Tower, Golf Kilo Echo, back with you, currently north of the airfield, descending to 2,000 feet and standing by for joining instructions, landing, full stop, runway 08.
Golf Kilo Echo, good evening again, sir. Continue 180 and join downwind leg and report downwind.
Continue heading 180 and we'll join and report downwind, left downwind, runway 08, Golf Kilo Echo. Okay, so what he's done there is he's going to put me directly into a VFR pattern, a left-hand pattern of 08. And a circuit pattern, well, a circuit as it's called. A VFR circuit is the most basic procedure in the sky you can do with an aircraft, pretty much. A circuit is you take off, you turn left or right, and then you turn again, so you're facing the opposite direction, and then you fly down, and then turn left or right again, and then turn left or right again, and then land back on the runway that you took off from. So it's basically you flying just a box. For those of you guys who, I don't know what the percentage of people who watch my videos, if they're hardened, seasoned VFR veterans and I'm just boring them to death right now, or people who are interested in flying VFR or who haven't really done much of it before and would like to learn more. I don't know. I don't know what the percentage of people are. Probably most of you are familiar with VFR, enjoy flying VFR, and don't really need to learn anything from the likes of me. But still fun to watch anyway. So, okay. So the downwind point is the turn onto downwind. I'm going to make just about on Rose Point. If you look, I took off, I did an upwind leg, I turned left onto a crosswind, and it's just about as I head over the coast I want to turn onto my downwind leg, and then about here, when I'm 45 degrees, when I see the threshold 45 degrees over my shoulder, I'll turn onto the base leg and then the final. So it's just about as I get over the land, the coast just here, I'll make a turn onto downwind. So I'm at 2,000 feet, I'm heading 180, all is peachy, all is happy with the world, I've got no wind, it's pretty chill. And if I zoom in, we might see there's the Ryanair, there is the, there's a Dash 8, looks like a Dash 8 that's there, and one or two other things in the background. If we just go back to the there's 4 outbounds now as well. That's nice. 2 Ryanairs, an EasyJet, and TLP. The TLP is probably the Dash 8. Okay, so I'm going to take over manual control again. So off with the autopilot. And just make sure I don't drift above 2,000 feet. In fact, I'll just drift below it instead. Just make sure that the QNH is set. And I've got a little bit of turbulence there, although the plan G is telling me that I've got no wind, so that's a bit strange. Just going to start throttling back, and I'm going to go mixture richer this time. Yep, make sure I'm not climbing. Could have been that turbulence. And I'm going to make my left downwind turn.
Jersey Tower, Tulip 512, ready for push and start.
Okay, I'm going to set this 08.
Tulip 512, push and start is approved, sir. Face west and call for taxi.
Push and start approved, facing west, Tulip 512.
Golf Kilo Echo, turning left downwind, runway 08.
Golf Kilo Echo, roger sir, report final 08.
Report final 08, Golf Kilo Echo. Okay. So we've just sunk about 200 feet below our highest altitude cleared to, which is fine. Just settling out now on my downwind. And you saw me doing this earlier. I just set the heading indicator bug to the runway heading. And this is how I fly a standard pattern. I fly with the back of the aircraft pointing directly at the bug, and that way I know I'm flying 180 degrees in the opposite direction from the runway heading. So that I know that I'm flying parallel to the runway when I've got that heading bug set. And then whenever I want to fly my base leg, I turn left I turn left 90 degrees, so that heading bug is then on the left-hand red pin, which is 90 degrees off my left-hand side. So it's just basically taking chunks of 90 degrees every time. Okay, so this is going to be a full stop landing. So let's just go back to the landing checklist. Just make sure that we adjust the trim, so every time we take our hand off of the controls, we're not dropping. Okay. So about 1,500.
Tower, easy 283, ready to push and start.
1,500 feet is okay for the moment. I'm just going to fly a little bit further, and then I'm going to turn on base.
283, push and start is approved, sir. Can you just confirm you're on stand 13?
And there you can see the
I think you might be on
ILS
13 or 12,
localizer and glide slope are
I think I've got you
active
on 13. Push and start is approved,
okay,
sir.
that's
Face
my
west,
base leg.
for taxi.
Okay.
Thanks very much. Push and start approved. We'll face west and we'll call runway to taxi. Easy 283.
That's my base leg. And I'm going to start leveling out when you see that heading indicator just come on to about... Oh, there we go. It's a little bit of turbulence still. That's strange, but okay. So just about, just gently in the descent now. Just double check that my lights are on. Yep, they shouldn't have technically been on during the cruise. Yeah, that is definitely some turbulence there. Updrafts and downdrafts. I'm not quite sure why I've got that, as look, I've got my nose pointed down, but I'm not descending. Okay, that's very strange. Okay, I'm going to drop the throttle completely, and I'm going to be turning on final approach soon, and I'm going to need to get my flaps down. Why am I still... That's crazy. Still ascending. That's a pretty serious updraft there. Golf Kilo Echo turning final 08.
Golf Kilo Echo, runway 08, clear to land, wind 17015 knots.
Clear to land, runway 08, Golf Kilo Echo. Okay. So yeah. So we're losing a good amount of altitude there, and
Jersey Tower, good day, Ryanair 178 with
that's
you.
someone
11,
stepping on the...
737 requesting IFR clearance to Cardiff.
Okay, we're going to run off of our glide slope
Ryanair
here,
178.
and the Pappies.
Good evening, sir. Jersey Tower, you're clear to Cardiff International via the Oyster 2 Bravo departure, squawking 1203.
Okay, we're in the flap extension range, so
1203
flaps 1.
by the Oyster 2 Bravo departure, Ryanair 178.
Ryanair 178, readback is correct, sir. When ready, call push and
We're
start.
going to go flaps 2.
Kilo Bear 512, we are ready to taxi.
And let's see how if we can
Kilo
nail
Bear
this
512,
touchdown.
Taxi hold point Bravo 1, runway 08. QNH 989 hectopascals.
I'm not sure if the scenery is supposed to look like this, but whatever.
QNH 989 hectopascal, taxi to
Flaps
holding
full.
point Bravo 1 via Bravo to runway 08 holding point. Kilo Bear 512.
Okay, let's see if we can get a stall warning horn here.
Golf Kilo Echo, welcome back into Jersey, sir. Vacate right when able, and taxi to the GA parking on the eastern side.
Vacate right when able, taxi to the GA parking on the east side, Golf Kilo Echo, thanks. Okay, he thought I'd touched down before I'd actually touched down, but that was a very nice flare and touchdown. I was very happy with that. Very
Right now,
satisfied.
178, we are ready for push and start now.
Oh, use some brakes here and off the runway. And as we pull off the runway,
Right now, register, stand by.
gonna pull off the strobe,
have you
pull off the landing lights.
As yet, sir?
And yeah.
I'm literally just waiting for the target. It's just coming up now.
Oh, look at the sun shining off that beautiful.
Hold position.
Hold position right now, 178.
So he sent us down here. Gonna lean for ground operations again. And those are the aircraft. It's really nice actually that we've got we had some traffic as we took off from Jersey, and we also are having some traffic as we are landing at Jersey. So that's been really nice. We've been very fortunate in that. So many times I come online and I think, you know what? I'm gonna do a flight. I'm gonna do a nice little VFR flight, and I'm gonna enjoy myself.
512, runway 08, cleared for takeoff, wind 17015 knots.
And then I come online and
Runway 08,
people
clear
aren't
for
here.
takeoff. Juliet Bear 512.
There's nothing interesting going on, and it's always a bit sad when I have the potential to make some good video content, and then it doesn't work out. So just continuing the taxi down to where we started from in the first place, which is the GA apron, and yeah. So really enjoyable little airfields here. I do love Jersey and Alderney for their VFR capacities, their GA aircraft. They're very GA friendly airfields, but as you can see, Jersey in particular is an airfield that is also home to some commercial traffic. So as a GA pilot flying in these little islands, you will also get the experience of flying around larger aircraft, which is always fun. And the larger aircraft always appreciate a nice little GA aircraft zipping around them as well. Brings a bit of flavour to the whole 737 and Airbus A320 meta that is VATSIM. You know? I know you know. He's lining up now. Oh no, he's just over on the horizon. He's just about... Oh no, yeah, he's taking off now. We'll see him pass. So what I will do... There he goes.
Judy Pair, contact Jersey Control 125.2. Have a good flight, sir. Bye-bye.
Contact Jersey Control on the 125.20, Juliet Bear 512. Thank you for the service.
On with the parking brake. Oh no, nope. I thought I had put the park brake on. Okay, so with a standard shutdown, we want to turn our lights off. Like so. We're going to go... oh no, not with the avionics. We just want to... Golf Kilo Echo, shutting down our GA parking. Thank you very much for the ATC this evening. Good evening.
Golf Kilo Echo, thank you for the traffic, sir. Nice to see you. Have a good evening, and bye-bye for now.
Easy 283, ready to taxi.
Okay, so that's avionics off, and the generator off. Battery off, pitot heat off, so everything is off. Now we're going to pull the mixture out, and then the propeller out, and then the mixture out. And once the propeller stops turning, then you turn off the ignition. And we'll go the control lock on. Do that, and then the control lock on. Okay. There we go. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. It's been a nice, really nice, relaxed evening on VATSIM, and really thoroughly enjoy little chill evenings like this where you can just come online and have some fun. It makes all of the more challenging videos. It gives some good dynamic environments. Gives a bit of flavor, a bit of difference. Anyway, so that's it from me this evening, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and stay tuned for more content coming soon.